The Smithsonian Institution. The Smithsonian Institution. Focus question. What makes the Smithsonian Institution so fascinating? Introduction. Your family is parking the car and you can hardly contain your excitement. Today, you're going to explore the nation's attic, the Smithsonian Institution. Your best friend visited Washington, D.C. last year and told you how amazing it was. Your family wants to see so many sights in Washington, D.C. that there isn't much time for the Smithsonian. So you'll make the best of it and see as you'll make the best of it and see as much as possible. The car is parked. Time to go. The Smithsonian Castle. You walk across the National Mall, where some of the nation's most famous monuments sit with several of the Smithsonian's museums. So the castle, which is the original museum, the red brick building holds the remains of James Smithson, the British scientist, chemist, and mineralogist for whom the institution is named. Once you are inside, a friendly volunteer explains more of the story. When Smithson died in 1829, he left his fortune to his nephew, Henry James Hungerford, with strict instructions that if Hungerford died without children, his entire fortune and collection would be donated to the United States, so established the Smithsonian Institution. This included his scientific notes, minerals, and whole library. Smithson wanted to create a place where knowledge of all kinds could be collected for everyone to experience. The Smithsonian Institution was founded in 1846. The volunteer goes on to explain how Smithson's money and initial collection established what has become the largest research and museum complex in the entire world. The Smithsonian Institution has 19 museums and galleries and more than 138 million artifacts in its collections. The volunteer explains that the institution works to study and preserve historical items, make new discoveries, and share resources. You learn that the Smithsonian Institution also hosts the National Zoo. You try to wrap your head around all this information on the short walk to the Museum of Natural History. Do you know? The James Smithson 126 title collection is now in the vault of the Smithsonian. Most of these titles are journal articles, but there are also history books, memoirs, political pamphlets, travel books, museum guides, and a few cookbooks. Smithson spent most of his time traveling to collect different minerals that he kept in a special mahogany cabinet. As a chemist, he investigated chemical compounds and conducted research on improved methods for making coffee and tea. The National Museum of Natural History. The green dome and decoration columns outside the Museum of Natural History make it look more like a government building than a museum. It opened in 1910. You climb the stairs and open the doors, entering the huge rotunda. In the center of Henry VIII tomb, 7,257 kilograms, 14 foot tall, 4.2 meters, African bush elephant native to Angola in southern Africa. The sign in front of the display says that the centerpiece shows how scientists from different scientific fields to collaborate to study animals and their habitats. Looking at a map, you realize that you have many choices. You could learn about animals, trace the origin of humanity, or explore geology. It would take days to look at everything, but the St. Ocean Hall catches your attention first. You walk past Henry into the hall and look up. Floating overhead, as if swimming in the sea, is a replica of Phoenix, a North Atlantic right whale. It's amazing that something bigger than a school bus, 45 feet, 13.7 meters long, and weighing 2,300 pounds, 1,043 kilograms, can look so graceful. A sign explains that right whales were hunted nearly to extinction for their oil, which was used for light and machine oil. These whales are now our rarest of all the large whales. Scientists estimate that fewer than 500 of these whales live in the North Atlantic. As you travel through each exhibit, you learn about coral reefs, examine the skeletons of other ocean creatures, and explore ancient ocean life. You even see a preserved giant squid. Next is the Hall of Bones. Skeletons from hundreds of creatures fill the displays. You see different species of primates, cats, big and small, deer and other mammals, snakes, turtles, crocodiles and other reptiles, and even birds and aquatic animals. Each skeleton is different and the diversity is amazing. Before you know it, you have to move on to the next museum, but not without a stop to see the Hope Diamond first. National Museum of American History. A short walk down the mall takes you to the National Museum of American History. The building's facade looks like gigantic boxes stacked side by side. Out front, a cool, squeaky sculpture moves slowly, seeming to change shape. Once inside, you're faced with the same decision as in the last museum. Where to begin? The Star-Spangled Banner exhibit is right at the entrance. Walking into the dark room, you see a huge charade flag on display. It's amazing to think that this extant flag was the inspiration of Francis Scott Key to write the poem that became the U.S. national anthem. It's more than 200 years old. Next, your family wants to see the Lightning of Revolution exhibit, so you head over there. The place is packed with light bulbs, gadgets, and old appliances. You see one of Thomas Edison's first light bulbs from 1879. Most people seem fascinated by the evolution of light bulbs, but you love the failed inventions, especially the electric marshmallow toaster. You move towards the exhibit of Julia Child's kitchen. You see a kitchen with a huge wall of pots and pans, neatly arranged cooking tools, and many kitchen appliances. This is the famous set where Child cooked on television for years, expanding flavors and ingredients in American cuisine, and helping people learn more about food. After that, you move on to the American presidency displays. You stop at the uniform of George Washington, the first U.S. president, and the lamp desk where Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. Time is running out, so you quickly go to see Dorothy's ruby slippers from the famous movie The Wizard of Oz. There's so much more to see, but you want to make it to the next museum. A volunteer says you can never see it all because the museum is always changing to display its millions of artifacts. Come next year and it might look completely different. The National Air and Space Museum. You make your way to the National Air and Space Museum. It's huge and packed full of all sorts of aircraft and spacecraft. And then you learn there's another complete museum in Virginia. This time, you decide to start at the beginning and head over to the Wright Flyer, the first powered airplane to fly with a pilot. It looks tiny compared to modern airplanes, and the fabric and wood construction seems flimsy. You learn that in 1903, Orville and Wilbur Wright flew for an entire 12 seconds, going 120 feet, 36 meters, and reaching a height of 9 feet, 2.7 meters, with an engine less powerful than most riding lawnmowers. From the beginning of flight, you walk a short distance to the milestones of Flight Hall. You see the Apollo 11 command module, which carried astronauts to the moon in 1969. Nearby, you touch an actual moon rock. Next is Amelia Earhart's a bright red airplane. You read that in this airplane, Earhart became the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. You then visit the Black Wings exhibit, about black pilots who took to the skies in spite of racial discrimination. The story of Bessie Coleman catches your attention. In 1921, she became the first black woman to earn a pilot's license and performed in aerial shows across the country. Her dedication and passion for flying has inspired many to pursue aviation. In another area sits a real airplane engine you can explore, and you even get to use some airplane mechanic tools. You're just beginning to look into the engine when it's time to go. The gift that keeps on giving. On your long walk back to the car, you ask if you can all come back next year. Your family says they'll think about it, but until then they'll explore the Smithsonian Institution online with you. The site has tons of cool stuff to see and learn about, including things that aren't on displays in the museums. You can't wait to tell your friends about all the displays you've seen as well as what you can discover online. As you pass by the castle again, you wave. Your family gives you a strange look, but you explain that you are just saying that thank you to the Smithsonian and its staff for the wonderful gift. Explore online. Use the website below to connect to and learn about the museums, galleries, and zoo that are part of the Smithsonian Institution. Remember to ask a parent or teacher before going on the internet. www.si.edu/.